This was a query from one of the members. It's fairly basic, but I thought it's still worth going over, certainly for his sake. Talking about links and jumpers. He was working on this. I brought out a kit called Easy Points, and then I brought out a modification called Easy Remote, where you could plug in this little board, and you could, instead of having to use a screwdriver on the Easy Points while lying underneath the layout, you could just plug this into the Easy Points and set it up from in your palm of your hand. So he was going to build this, and he emailed me to say, what is this red blob here? I said, that's a jumper. And he came back and said, what's a jumper? And second question is, to have this thing in, couldn't I just use another bit of wire there? So to explain the difference between links and jumpers, we use links a lot on pocket money kits that use Vero board, strip board, because there's only 9 tracks and there's multiple connections. So we end up having to maybe make a cut here and a cut there, and then put in wire links to link up all the little segments of the copper track to make all the multiple connections. So they're essentials to get the kit actually working. They're not optional. Other kits like this one here, you've got wire links. You see the red dotted lines, but these are optional. This is the kit for the lighthouse, and you can have 8 different lighthouse patterns depending on which links you fit. So you don't have to fit any links and you'll get one pattern, but if you put in link 1 on its own, you get different patterns. You put in link 2 on its own, and so on. And depending on combinations of these wire links, they will do the pattern that you need for your layout. And they're more or less permanent. They're not essential to make the thing work, but they're essential to pick the option that you want. So generally speaking, you would put it in the link you want and leave it in, unless you moved house, went somewhere else and wanted to replicate another area. But in general, it's more or less semi-permanent. This is another example of an option. This is the traffic lights kit, and it started life as purely a UK kit. In other words, it's the UK light sequence, red, amber, green. And then somebody got in touch and said, but I would like to have the option to have continental light sequence. So I changed the code, and then we allowed the possibility to have this wire here either linked high or linked low. And depending which link you put in, you got either the British or the continental sequence. So again, it's more or less a semi-permanent connection you're making there. But jumpers are something different. Jumpers are a piece of metal link. You can see here we have basically a U-shaped piece of metal. And so if you push this onto a couple of pins, then you'll make a short between them because it'll short across here. This version is open at the top so that when you plug the jumper in, you've also got access to it with a meter, which is handy. But you can get ones like that, which is the one that the member was querying, where it's closed at the top. So they come in 2 options, open top and a sealed top. And they're designed to fit general pin headers, the usual ones that you see on most of the kits with 0.1 inch spacing. So what are they used for? Well, talking about EasyBus, there's the EasyBus output module. You'll see down here, I've expanded it to make it a bit bigger up the top here. We've got rows of pins because we've got a module that we can replicate 16 times in your layout. So they all have to have unique addresses. So depending on which pins you insert and which ones you don't will determine the address of that particular module. And they're left in, but they can be removed at any moment and reconfigured. So if you wanted to move this module to another part of the board to do another job, you simply have to configure it for that particular job. So it's adaptable if you have them as jumpers rather than permanent wires, because if these were soldered instead and you had to reuse them, you'd have to unsolder it and solder links. This makes it a very quick. And one of the benefits of EasyBus we were arguing was that at an exhibition, if you're using EasyBus and that module broke down, you can simply unplug that module from the layout. It's only screws at the top for the power and the bus. And in the replacement, if you carry a spare, you put it into the layout, and all you have to do is make sure that the jumpers that are here are the same as the jumper configuration of the ones you took out. So it makes it much more adaptable to have jumpers rather than wire links in that situation. Back to the Easy Remote. That's the Easy Remote system. The left-hand side is almost a standard Easy Points, except it doesn't have its own little on-board trimmers. They're now extracted to a separate board over here, and there's a link you plug in. So there's two links. There's one here for set the speed, which you can leave in permanently or leave out permanently. But the setting board has a link too. And this is the one where the member said, can't I just have that permanently wired across? And the answer is no, because the idea is that this link has a jumper inserted when you want to set up the servo. And then when you unplug it, then the chip goes into working mode as opposed to programming mode. So you plug it in for a short time, set your two trimmers to what your servo endpoints are to be, and then unplug it. And from then on, it'll use those endpoints. So it's very much a temporary link. And that's what that red piece means.